What if the reason you come home exhausted from vacation has nothing to do with the destination and everything to do with how you planned it? I recently came back from what was, without question, the best vacation of my life. And the biggest surprise wasn't the beauty of Greece, it was how rested I still felt days after returning home. Today, I want to share the decisions that made that possible and how you can create a trip that actually restores you. Welcome to Wellness for High Performers, where ambitious people discover the path to sustainable wellness that actually feels good so they can build the dream without burning out. I'm your host, Erica Jones. I'm a wellness strategist and entrepreneur, and I help high performers create massive momentum by weaving wellness into their daily life. Hey there, I hope you're doing well. I'm Erica Jones. I am the host of Wellness for High Performers. And today we're talking about vacation. We're in the summer season. You may have a trip or multiple trips planned over the summer or throughout the rest of the year. And I really wanted to talk about travel today and specifically vacation travel, because I think this is one of the things that either gets overlooked by ambitious people or it's something that we don't do well. And I'll kind of dive into what I mean by that in this episode. But before I dive into my insights and the things that I discovered while we were on our most recent trip to Greece, I do want to reiterate the importance of scheduling vacation time. Isaac and I really realized this years ago when I think our youngest was still a baby, and you're in the throes of growing a business and you're trying to create the momentum and all of the things that go into building up what your business is. And we looked up at the end of like 2 years and we're like, we haven't really taken good vacations. I think one year we didn't really take any vacation. And we realized that that is not okay. We're not going to allow that anymore. And so one of the things that we decided was that we were going to plan our personal calendar with our vacations built into that calendar before all of the business initiatives get put on the plate. And that was one of the best decisions that we made because it allows us to prioritize our downtime and our family time and those memories that we create together before anything for the business gets put on the list. And so that prioritization has really protected that space. And I wasn't even really planning to share that on this episode, but I think it is definitely something that has made our vacations something that are intentional, that actually do happen every year instead of an afterthought that we're trying to squeeze in around events and all these other things that are going on. So that's kind of a bonus tip. Plan your downtime, your rest time as a priority before your business initiatives. And I think that creates a great deal of opportunity for space for you. What I want to also mention is how important it is as high performers, entrepreneurs, anybody, people of ambition, how important it is to schedule vacation time. And I know for a lot of people, this is really hard because it feels counterproductive in the moment. You feel like there's a million things that you want to be doing in your business, and stepping away or taking any time off feels like a step backwards. But the reality is, that downtime strengthens your creativity and it actually increases productivity because when you come back from the downtime, you're engaged at a higher level. And so I think that's something that we don't always think about. But the other things are that downtime gives you a break from the mental noise and the constant buzz of everyday life. And some of us don't realize how much we truly need a break from that until we step away. And if planned properly, your vacation time can really allow for that deep rest and relaxation that so many of us are craving. It also can create space for things like wonder, awe, surprise, delight. These are emotions that can be difficult to experience in our everyday lives. So going away, going on a vacation can oftentimes allow us the opportunity to have that. And so let's dive in now to some of the insights and the things that we did for this particular trip that made it really epic probably the best vacation of my life. And you may be like, well, I mean, you went to Greece. That's, amazing. We've been to so many incredible places, and not every single place we've been to has felt as restorative as this trip. And I really, truly don't think that you need to go on some extravagant European vacation or to a different continent to experience the value and the rest that comes with taking a break. I think you can do it on a weekend trip. You can do it going to a hotel in your downtown. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. So I don't want anyone to think that you got to spend gobs of money on international travel in order to get rest. That's not the case. And you'll see that as we walk through some of these points here. So the first thing I really want to talk about is the intention around deciding what you want before you plan the trip. And so this is the thing that I think a lot of people skip over. They're not really thinking about the outcome that they wanna create. So what do I mean by that? Are you looking for a trip that involves a lot of adventure? Maybe you feel rejuvenated when you get to do, like, thrill-seeking activities. Maybe you're someone who loves history and culture and sightseeing, and that really helps you to feel rejuvenated. Or maybe you're just like, "Look, I want a lot of spa time. I'm here for the rest, the relaxation, and the stress release." Or maybe you're someone who's like, I want a culinary adventure. I love incredible food. I want to go somewhere and just experience the food, and that would really light me up. Or maybe you're someone who loves to be in nature. You want to be feeling like you are surrounded by vastness or greatness in the way of nature. And that makes you feel grounded and rejuvenated. So I want you to think about that before you design your trip. Some people know that they love to be near water. They're all about beaches. Some people know that they want to be in the mountains, and that's really what feels aligned for them. So, knowing your objectives is really important. And I would say for us on this last trip, it's always primarily relaxing. We want to relieve stress, we want to relieve the tension from the day to day. And then we kind of like to sprinkle in some of the adventure and the sightseeing and the culinary. The culinary is definitely a big part for us. We're big foodies. But we want to sprinkle in these other elements so long as they don't compromise the relaxation. So we wouldn't necessarily design a vacation where we are back to back doing excursions and, we have like a fast paced schedule because we're trying to sightsee to the nth degree every day of our trip. We wouldn't design a trip like that for us, not with the primary goal of relaxing. So you've got to think about that for you and what you envision. So the second point is to design the vacation that you want and not the one that everyone else recommends. So years ago, back when our oldest child was a baby, Isaac and I had good friends of ours who were wanting us to take a trip with them. And they were talking about this all inclusive resort that was in Mexico. And they just talked it up big. They also had two older kids, and they were like, this is going to be amazing. You guys are going to love this. Come out, we'll travel together and we'll make a big trip of it. It'll be so fun. And so we were like, okay. And at the time, we were probably 2 or 3, maybe a little bit more. We were probably 4 years into our business. And while things were coming along, we were still in those early phases of growth. It was a big investment to fly out to the West Coast and travel down into Mexico and stay at this all inclusive resort. So we did this and we got to the resort, and the entire thing was just underwhelming. It was not a trip that we would ever take again. It was no disrespect to them. Like, they absolutely loved it and we loved them. We still do love them, but our vacation styles simply didn't align. So we invested a significant amount of time and money only to feel disappointed about the outcome. So the lesson that I learned from that years ago was don't outsource your vacation planning. So when we were planning this trip to Greece, family and friends who had already been to the country before were telling us their recommendations of what they thought would be best and what we would enjoy based on what they would enjoy. And so I was so happy that I researched thoroughly the different islands, the different locations, and really aligned it to what we wanted, because some of the top island recommendations didn't align with us. And One of the places that we were recommended to stay was in just like a very touristy area that was offloading hundreds of people every day at port because there were cruises coming in and out. That is not at all the kind of area that we wanted to be in. So I was very, very happy that I thoroughly researched, and we chose to stay at a boutique luxury hotel in Santorini in one of the places that we went to. And it was just out of the way of a lot of the foot traffic in the area, which we were very pleased with. It was perfect for us. So I said that to say, don't delegate your travel unless you absolutely trust the source that it's coming from. Another thing for us on this trip was we know that we find beaches deeply relaxing. And a lot of people don't know this, but some of the islands in Greece, they don't have the best beaches. Like you've got to find the ones that have incredible beaches. And so knowing that about us, we booked to stay at Naxos, which is very low key, is a low key island with amazing local food, pristine beaches, and just a lot less foot traffic as far as tourism goes. So it was perfect for us. And so we were really happy with the choices that we made. I think it really helped us to feel like the trip was restorative, which is exactly what we wanted. So again, don't just trust the most popular recommends on TripAdvisor or other popular websites. Make sure that when you're investing your money and time on vacation, that you're getting the result that you desire. You want your travel to be worth your time. So be careful with recommends, like I said, unless you really, really trust the source. The next thing I would say is to be honest about what truly feels restorative. So sometimes we call all time off a vacation, but all time off is not a vacation. And if you set that expectation in your head that all time off is a vacation, then you may be feeling disappointed. And I'll give you an example of exactly what I mean. I listen to Myron Golden from time to time. He's like a motivational speaker and entrepreneur, and he has a YouTube channel. He's got some great content out there. But his story is he went from being very, very broke to very, very wealthy by building his business. And he talks about the time in his life when he was really in that broke phase. He was struggling financially, and he was actually a garbage man for, I think it was for a few years, but he wasn't making a lot of money. He had a family to support, and he's working full time. He gets 2 weeks off every year, which is wild. Like, it's absurd to work 50 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, and then you get 2 weeks off. But those 2 weeks, he spent driving across the country to stay with his in-laws in Texas, and he said it wasn't a vacation. Like, he loves his in-laws, but it was not a vacation for him, and he talks about this openly. And so this is what I mean about being honest about what truly feels restorative, because sometimes we kind of put in this bucket like, "Oh, all time off is a vacation." No, like, it's really a vacation if it's restorative, if it is achieving the outcome that you would want to achieve on a vacation. So you think about your downtime and your time off. Is it really rejuvenating, or are you calling something quote unquote vacation time that is actually spent traveling to places or doing things that don't fully refresh and restore you? So I have learned to reset and reframe trips like that. So for example, when we visit Florida to spend time with family and go to theme parks with the kids, that does not count as a real vacation. I do not tell myself that it is a real vacation. Is it time off from work and business? Yes. Is that beneficial to get a break from the daily grind? Yes. Is it relaxing or rejuvenating for me? No, it's not. But is it important quality time with family, my kids, my mom and dad, my sister, that kind of thing? Absolutely. But it doesn't count for me as a vacation. It's a trip. So think about how you're mentally framing your vacations. Not all time off equates to a vacation. A vacation gives you the outcome of rest, rejuvenation, whatever it is that you're looking to create, whatever it is that you desire when you create that space and time off. So the question to ask yourself is, at the end of this trip, will I get the result that I'm looking for? And if the answer is no, then it might not really be a vacation. The next thing I want you to think about, if you have kids, this is for those that have kids, leave your kids behind if you can sometimes. I did not do this until mine were over 2. We have 4 kids total. I was nursing and dealing with getting kids to sleep well through the night prior to 2, so I felt like 2 was the sweet spot, and I know that I'm extremely fortunate to have parents that will take all 4 of our kids for several days. They'd probably take them for weeks if I asked if I asked them to. That's too long for me, but I think they would be completely fine with that. And I know not everyone has that or people that they can trust like that, but if you do, even for a day or 2, leverage it. Leverage it as best you can, because I know for us, we're very involved in our kids' lives. We work from home, we homeschool, we see them all throughout the day. Child-free time from a mental perspective is extremely beneficial because it just quiets the mental traffic. Even if I'm not dealing directly with my kids, I'm thinking about and considering their well-being. What are we gonna have for lunch today? Did I order that thing that so and so needed for a project? We're kind of on summer break right now, but when we're in homeschool and doing homeschool co-op and stuff like that, those are things that are coming up in my mind. Does this person have shoes that fit? I need to switch out sizes for summer clothes. We need to buy clothes. Like all this kind of stuff, this mental noise, it's like chatting in my brain when I'm home and I'm here and I'm around my kids. But when I'm away from them and there's that child free time, all of that noise gets quieted because I'm not going to be like ordering kids shoes while I'm away on vacation. I'll do that when I get back home and, I'm back in my regular rhythm. The other reason why that child-free time is great is it's wonderful for me and my husband and for our marriage. It reconnects us and reminds us of who we were before we had kids. And to me, that's really special and something that we want to always keep that spark alive. And so that's another reason why just getting away, just the 2 of us, has been super special and helpful. But if you can't get away together, you could try this, like giving each other a weekend off or a night away. So this looks like one of you taking the kids over the weekend while the other spends a night at a hotel over the weekend or for a couple nights on the weekend. We've done that for each other. Like there's been times where Isaac's like, I can tell you're burned out. Like you need space and rest. Like, why don't you just go book a hotel for a couple nights over the weekend? And I've got the kids and you just rest and recharge. And I've done the exact same thing for him. So we just have each other's back when one of us is feeling like, okay, I'm running on fumes. It's an opportunity. If the other person is also okay, we can say, okay, why don't you just take a break over the weekend? And then that helps to get some of that downtime. I would also say date nights are important for that connection as well. So we try to plan at least 1 or 2 every single month. All right, the next reason why this trip was amazing for us, and this is like another point on how to create amazing restful vacations, is to unplug from work, truly. For us, this is like a non-negotiable. It is a must. Before we arrive, we usually will tie up any loose ends that we have on the flight over to our destination. And after that, we are disconnecting. We're staying out of email, we're staying off of work communication. We're not texting people about work. Our team knows that if they truly need us, if something's urgent, then they know how to reach us. But for the most part, we are not at all involved in our business stuff. And the reason why is because we know that stepping away creates a tremendous amount of mental freedom. And thankfully, we have a team that we trust to run things while we're away. We have built that up over the years. And this is something to work toward if you don't currently have that. That mental release, the clarity of ideas, the clarity of strategy, all of that can come even when you're not actively thinking about work. There's a huge mental release and access to clarity on ideas, initiatives, strategies when you step away from your work. And a lot of times it can also help to remove the kind of what I call God complex that things are going to fall apart if you're not there. Obviously, if you're a one man or one woman show, then, your business kind of stops when you step away from it. But most of the time, what we think is urgent is not urgent. And if you can create the space to truly unplug, then do that because it can be a huge gift and blessing for your creativity and your engagement later. And the final thing I'll recommend is to unplug from your devices as well. So while you're unplugging from work, unplug from your social media, unplug from your phone in general, because that is another piece to the puzzle of the art of slowing down and feeling rested. What we really enjoyed was spending entire afternoons on the beach, reading books, walking in the sand, people watching, swimming in the water, taking naps, writing in our journals, having good conversation with one another. We weren't sitting there on our phones scrolling endlessly or getting pinged by notifications or getting all this digital clutter piled on while we're in a paradise trying to relax. So that's another thing that I think, we're all very dependent on in this modern world is our technology. That is something that we can create distance from when we're traveling. Not only does it help with the mental reset, it also helps when you get back home. I know for me, I just felt less inclined to even look at my phone because I was so used to separation from it while we were away. And so I just kind of felt like my nervous system settled on that trip in a way that is more difficult to replicate when we were at home. And that's a big part of the reason why I think that the sense of calm and relaxation truly lingered after we got back home and back into the daily rhythm. So in closing, I think the biggest thing that I took away from Greece, it's not about where to travel or going to like some bucket list destination. The real point that I'm trying to drive home here is about being intentional about your time off. The first piece is creating the time off, creating the space for the time off, which I mentioned at the top of this podcast. You can do by prioritizing your calendar for your vacations before you prioritize it for business. But then, secondly, when you have that space created, intentionally designing it to create the outcome that you desire instead of just outsourcing it to what other people recommend or not really thoughtfully pursuing the result that you want to see. And so I think because of that, because we're not as intentional as we want to be, we can come home from quote unquote vacations feeling depleted instead of feeling renewed. So, as you're traveling over this summer or booking vacations throughout the year, I want you not to just ask, where do I want to go? I want you to ask, how do I want to feel when I come home? What is the experience that I want to create while I'm away? Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode gave you a fresh perspective or maybe a practical insight that you'll bring into your daily life. Remember that you can build the dream and protect your well being at the same time. If you want more support, head to elevaze.com. That's ELEV as in victory, AYS.com. And join me inside the Elite Edge. That's my weekly inspiration email for high performers like you who want to thrive while they achieve. Until next time, make time for what matters and keep showing up as the high performer you're created to be.